Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and welcome back to my meadow. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours from our family here in Northeast Florida. In today's video, I thought I would have a little fun and share with you some of the things that you're probably thinking about throwing away today during Thanksgiving, but I want to encourage you maybe to reclaim some of this Thanksgiving trash and turn it into garden treasure. I've got a whole pile of stuff I've been saving up over here for this video. So let's take a look at this trash to treasure find. If your Thanksgiving is anything like ours have been in the past, you'll have all kinds of trash left over from the festivities. And I want to encourage you to think about it, especially if you're trying to garden on a budget. What of these things could you use in your own garden? Before we get started, I want to tell you, I have tried all of these things in my own garden. So I'm sharing with you stuff I've done, but I'm doing it in rapid fire so that I can share with you the ideas, because you're probably trying to get out the door for Thanksgiving Day. This is a typical carry tray that you might get when somebody brings in the coffee or a tray of drinks. In this case, this is compostable. You could use it in the garden by cutting it up, or you could throw it in your compost pile. And if you're so brave, you could even fill it with soil to start some seedlings. And how about these great salad containers? These are awesome for seed starting, even deeper seed starting. You could even fill this entire container and then dig out your plants once they're ready to be transplanted. Have a nice little cover on it to make a greenhouse. Yes, I buy on quick sale. You guys see me with these expensive garden beds, but I am frugaler than you know. Same thing, you could turn it upside down and make a micro greenhouse. Maybe you're not going to have a traditional Thanksgiving meal and you're going to have something from the Chinese restaurant. This is one of the soup containers that we often get when we order Chinese out. I save all of these for the garden. When they have a lid on them, they make a great container. You can poke holes in the bottom and turn it into a planter. And often I just like to use it as a water bucket so that I can gently water my plants. Along those same lines are these kinds of to-go containers. You could use these as a way to start your seedlings, makes a little micro greenhouse, or if you even wanted to grow microgreens, you could use a container like this. Put two of them together, put holes in the bottom, then put a little spacer, set one on top of the other. Now you've got a drain pan and a little grow container. What about these pie pans? Well, you could use these in a number of ways, either as a water catch underneath a pot, or you could cut them up and use them as scare tape in the spring and in the summer once your fruit starts fruiting to try to discourage the birds. If you're doing any cooking, there's probably going to be egg containers. This right here would make a great way to start some seedlings. I've done this in the past, and once the seedlings are ready, I just cut this right up and actually plant, container and all, right into the garden. Maybe there's gallons of water, gallons of tea. What a great way to have a water container. You can cut the section out here, poke some holes in the bottom and turn it into a planter, or simply cut the bottom out and then use it as a mini greenhouse come the cooler months to keep your new seedlings protected. A vinegar bottle could work the same way. The nice thing about these vinegar bottles though is they seem to be sturdier, so I'm actually considering taking some of these and cutting this way and turning them into a garden scoop. Somebody's bringing a cake for Thanksgiving or some kind of dessert. A container like this would make a good micro greenhouse. You could flip it over and turn it into something you could start plants with. Or just use the lid out in the garden as a dome to make another little mini greenhouse. What about the plasticware? Well, something like this you could use as a plant marker, whether it's a fork, a spoon, or a knife. You could either write the name of the item on there really small or use numbers so that you can label your plants and starts. There are definitely going to be cans today. Something like this, you can turn into an herb garden. You can even make this pretty with some paint or some contact paper, punch holes in the bottom. Now you've got a mini herb garden, or you can just use it as a starter just to get your plants going and growing if you don't want to or can't invest in traditional starter pots. Along that same line are the solo cups. We see a lot of gardeners buying these to specifically use for starting their gardens. But why not reclaim them from the family gathering today? This is one that I've used in the past and I save them year after year. I just poke holes in the lower section. Notice there's an indent here. I poke the holes in the lower section so that the water can flow through freely. Same thing with power drink and juice bottles. They could be a micro greenhouse. You could cut the tops off and turn them into a planter. You could use them as a watering jug. You could use them as a slow watering jug. Same for the other ones. Poke a hole in the bottom, little air in the top, fill it with water, and then set it in the garden to be like a mini Oya that's sitting on top of the earth. And my newest addition, and this is not a sponsorship by anybody, but Popeyes and some of the other places are starting to put their tea in these very sturdy, very reusable containers. And so I save these after Thanksgiving and I use them as watering bottles around the garden. So I have places out front where I don't have a spigot. I can grab this, fill it up, close it up, and go do some watering. So that was like 20 things rapid fire that you might be able to reclaim today. Now, there's one other type of waste that you might be able to reclaim. Eggshells. You could use those in the garden, and I'm going to do a video about that later, but you do want to bake them to kill any pathogens on them first. You also could reclaim coffee grounds to use in and around the garden. And finally, how about those kitchen scraps from chopping up all those vegetables? Those would be great in compost. And quite frankly, if you have a garden bed and you don't have to worry about critters digging things up, you could bury those right in the garden if you don't have a compost system going on. Well, that is it, my friends. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I hope that you have an amazing Thanksgiving. Subscribe to the channel because we have some cool things coming out soon. When I hit 2,500 subscribers, I'm actually doing a nice little giveaway. We have a lot of prizes put together now for that, so you'll want to be here for that. And until next time, my friends, try not to eat too much turkey today. Enjoy the time that you have with your friends or family or strangers, however you spend the day. Make sure you stay hydrated, and if you're somewhere that it's sunny today, put on that high quality sunscreen. Until next time, my friends, have a fantastic day. Gobble, 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 gobble. I guess baby thinks that the water that I'm using to sprout the sweet potatoes tastes pretty good. She's using that for her bath station this morning.